everyone, welcome to the I Can Crochet That YouTube channel. Today we're going to learn how to do the Tunisian Crochet Brick Stitch for this kitchen towel. Now we're going to learn the brick stitch, but we're going to learn how to do it so that we don't have any curl at the bottom or at the top of the pattern by starting with a reverse stitch. So alright, let's get started. For this pattern you'll need a 6mm Tunisian crochet hook, either a long one like this to hold all the loops on your hook, or one with a cable like this and a stopper on the end. I will be sure and link to where I got these hooks. They're my favorite ones, so I'll be sure to link to those so you can find out where to get them. So 6mm hook and 100% cotton yarn. Since we are making it for the kitchen, you'll want a 100% cotton yarn, which is absorbent. And this is, I use Dishie, and it comes in all kinds of pretty colors. Pink, this light green, and then I used this one for the pattern. So for the Tunisian crochet brick stitch, you will need a multiple of 4 plus 1. So for today's video, we will do 17. So put a slip knot on your hook and chain 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So you're going to chain 17 with the white color yarn, whichever color yarn you want to make the post stitches, and also to start with the reverse stitches. So I am using the cream colored. So we've got 17 chains. Now for Tunisian crochet, what we usually do is turn over your chain and find these back bumps. You can see the back of the chain has these little back bumps. That's what we will insert our hook into and bring up a loop. Now you can technically go into the chain like you do with normal crochet, but I just think it looks nicer to go in the back bump, especially since this towel pattern does not have a border. And so it just makes for a nice clean edge. So for the sake of what I like to do, I'm going to pull up a loop in the back bump. But like I said, feel free to go in the chain if you want to. So turn it over, find that second back bump from the hook, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now with Tunisian crochet, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, all the loops stay on our hook while we're doing what's called the forward pass. This is the forward pass, moving down this way, and then we'll do the return pass. So for the rest of the back bumps, you just insert your hook under the back bump and bring up a loop. You're going to do that all the way across. And we did 17 chains, so you should have 17 loops on your hook when you get to the end. So we'll count those just to make sure we're on the right track. And then we'll work on the return pass. Now I have a whole course about Tunisian crochet called Taming the Curl. And one thing about Tunisian crochet that a lot of people do not like and that it discourages them from continuing with the craft is the curling. And so I came up with 5 exclusive patterns. Each one teaches you a different technique to tame the curl. And I worked really hard on it. I'm really proud of it. And so far, great reviews are coming in. People are loving the patterns, which makes me so very happy. So if you want to check that out, I will put a link in the description so you can check out the course. Okay, so we brought up a loop in every back bump. So we should have 17 loops on our hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. So that is the forward pass for the foundation row. Now the return pass. Now for a regular return pass for Tunisian crochet, they're all pretty much the same. There are a few stitches that the return pass will be different. So if you're working one of my patterns, be sure and check the special stitches section, and it'll tell you if the return pass is the regular return pass or if there's a special one. But for this pattern, it is the regular return pass. And a return pass on Tunisian crochet is chain 1 and then yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. And you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook all the way until you get to the end and you have 1 loop left on your hook. 3 loops left, 2 loops left, and now 1. And that is the foundation row for Tunisian crochet. Now for this pattern, so that we don't have the curling at the bottom, and I just also really like the way that it looks, we're going to do several rows of reverse stitch. Now the reverse stitch, in Tunisian crochet, there is a front vertical bar, and if you turn it over, you can see there is also a back vertical bar. The simple stitch, which you might be familiar with, you go right to left with your hook underneath that front vertical bar. But for the reverse stitch, you're going to turn it around and you're going to go from right to left underneath the back vertical bar only. And that is the reverse stitch. There's a couple of ways that you can do the reverse stitch. So before I get into that, this first loop on your hook counts as the first stitch, so you do not go into this first vertical bar. We always skip that first vertical bar in Tunisian crochet because that is the first stitch, the first loop on your hook. So you'll look for that second vertical bar, and that's where you will work your first stitch. So for the reverse stitch, there's a couple ways you can do it. One way is to insert your hook in that space between the stitch you just worked and the stitch you're about to work, and then rotate your hook and grab that back vertical bar, and then yarn over and pull up a loop. That's one way to do it. Let me do it again. Find that space in between the stitch you just worked and the one you are about to work. Insert your hook in that space, rotate your hook, grab that back vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. And once you get the hang of it, this way might be what's easiest for you. As you can see, I struggle with doing it this way a little bit. So this is how I do it. I turn it towards me. I take my nail and I kind of push the bar that I'm going to be working on out a little bit, and then it just makes it easier to grab that back vertical bar. Again, the bar I need to pull up a loop in the back, I push it towards me, turn the work towards me, and grab that back vertical bar. And I just do that over and over again, and it makes it go super quick. So yeah, just practice to see which way works best for you, if it's going in between that space and bringing up a loop, or if it's turning it towards you and finding that back loop. But that is the Tunisian reverse stitch. You're going to do that all the way across, pulling up a loop in every single back bar until you get to the very end, and this is called the last Tunisian stitch. And to work this one, let me grab my needle here. To work this one, you're going to turn it towards you, and you're going to see that there is a front vertical bar and there's a back vertical bar. So for the edge stitch, so that we get a really nice clean edge, you're going to insert your hook under both that front and back vertical bar and bring up a loop. So again, turn it towards you, look for that front and back vertical bar, insert your hook under both like that, yarn over and bring up a loop. And that is the forward pass for the reverse stitch. All right, the return pass is the same as we just did. Chain 1, and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to do that all the way until we have 1 loop left on our hook. So let's do another row of reverse stitches together. So again, do not work that first vertical bar. Find the second vertical bar and either insert your hook in that space between and then rotate and get that back vertical bar, or turn it towards you, whichever way works best. Bring up a loop in every vertical bar across. I love this stitch so much because it doesn't curl at all, and I just think the texture is super cool, and I love starting projects with the reverse stitch for the texture and for the no curl aspect. All right, brought up a loop under every back vertical bar, and sometimes you might want to just count the loops on your hook if you're new to this to make sure that you do have the correct number. We should always have 17 loops on our hook. All right, we've come to that last stitch. Again, turn it towards you. Look for that front and back vertical bar and insert your hook under both of those. Just like that. And now the return pass. Chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2, all the way across. Now this kitchen towel, it does begin with 4 rows of reverse stitches before we get to the brick stitch, and then it also ends with 4 rows. So right now you can see we have two rows of the reverse stitch. So we're going to do one more with this cream colored yarn, and then when we have 2 loops left on our hook, we're going to switch to this beautiful green to do another row of reverse stitches, and then we'll begin the brick stitch. So let's do one more row of reverse stitch and then with the cream, and then we'll change yarns and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so we have 3 rows of reverse stitch. We have 2 loops left on our hook. We want one more reverse stitch row with the cream. So to introduce a new color on the forward pass, when you have 2 loops left on your hook, put the new color on your hook and pull it through those 2 loops. And that's how you bring in a new color. Now, we're not going to fasten off the cream. This is just going to hang down there, and we're going to bring it up for the next row, which I will show you how to do that. But do not fasten it off, just leave it kind of hanging there. And now we need to do another row of reverse stitches. So find that back vertical bar, not the first one, that second one. Find that back vertical bar and pull up a loop. And sometimes you will need to tighten that new yarn that you've brought in a little bit, and maybe the one that you're dropping just a little bit. Just give those a little bit of a tug so that they're not super loose. Okay, so it's the same exact thing that we did on the other 3 rows, but it was just with a new color, bringing up a loop in every back vertical bar. So I was imagining all the different color combinations with this Dishie yarn that we could do, and there's just so many. I mean, you could do the post stitches that we're going to learn. You could do those with the green, and then the little ones with the white, and do like a set where they're kind of alternating like that. And then, yeah, there's yellows, there's purples, there's pinks, so many different options for color combinations. Again, we're at that last stitch. Insert your hook under the front and back vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop. And that's the return pass, or the forward pass, introducing a new color. Now we're going to do the return pass, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Do that all the way across until you have 2 loops left on your hook, because now we're going to find that other color that you just kind of let chill out down there. You're going to bring it up while dropping. You're going to drop that color, grab this color. When you have 2 loops left on your hook, you're going to pull it through those 2 loops on your hook. And that's how we're going to introduce the new color. Every other row, we're going to switch colors. Or every row, we're going to switch colors. And you just do it when you have 2 loops left on your hook, And yeah, it's pretty simple. Okay, so now we are ready to start the brick stitch. We have our 4 rows of reverse stitches, and now we're ready to begin the brick stitch. So for the brick stitch, you need to know how to do a simple stitch and how to do a long Tunisian front post double crochet. It sounds harder than it really is, but I will walk you through it. All right, for this first row, we're going to simple stitch 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do a long post stitch. And then we're going to simple stitch 3 and a long post stitch. And we're going to alternate that all the way across until we get to the end. So again, we do not work that first vertical bar. We go to the second one. And a simple stitch is inserting your hook from right to left underneath that front vertical bar, yarning over and pulling up a loop. So again, insert your hook under that front vertical bar from right to left, yarn over, bring up a loop. So we're doing 3 of those. And then we're ready for the long Tunisian front post double crochet. I'm not going to say that every time, so I think I'll just say long post. So this one, we're going to need to get the trusty little needle here so I can point it out to you. So this one is, let me bring this talon. As you can see, it is long, hence the name. And you actually are going to be going under the row below, under that stitch from the row below, 2 rows below actually. Not this green row, but we're going to look for the cream colored row. So we're going to go look for that cream colored row and look for those 2 bars right under that green row in the cream. So we just worked those 3 vertical bars. Now we're at the next vertical bar. Look directly below that green vertical bar for those 2 vertical bars with the cream right there. And that's what we're going to put our hook under. We're going to go under both of those. So this first row of post stitches off of the reverse stitches are a little bit different as far as looking for that front and back vertical bar than the other rows that we're doing, which I will show that to you and explain what I'm talking about. For the long post, we are going to yarn over. We're going to skip that vertical bar here, and we're going to look for the front and vertical bar of the row below that. Going to insert your hook under both of those vertical bars, under both of those bars from the row below. We're going to yarn over, going to bring up a loop, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through those 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. And that is a long Tunisian front post double crochet. All right, so look for that next vertical bar. We're going to do simple stitch the next 3. So again, right to left. Do a simple stitch, and a simple stitch. And now we're at the 4th one. So again, skip that one. Look for the front and back vertical bar in the cream colored row below. Yarn over, insert your hook underneath that front and back vertical bar, yarn over, bring up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2 loops on your hook. And that is another post stitch. So again, 3 simple stitches, 1, 2, 3, and now a long post stitch. Yarn over, find that front and back vertical bar, insert your hook under both, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook. So we are just leaving one of these green vertical bars unworked, and it's just laying behind that post, that front post stitch. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches left. So we're just doing 3 simple stitches. Now we're at that last Tunisian stitch. Turn it towards you. Find that front and back vertical bar. Insert your hook underneath both of those. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Isn't that cool? I love the texture of this stitch, and just the pattern is really, really cool. All right, we're ready for the return pass. Chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we're going to be ready to switch back to the green yarn when we have 2 loops on our hook. Got 2 loops on your hook, drop that one, find the green, bring it up, and pull it through those 2 loops, and then give that one a little tug if you need to. Now for the green row, it's just simple stitches all the way across, super easy. So find that second vertical bar and do a simple stitch. And a simple stitch in each stitch all the way across. So we are simple stitching in that front post stitch. And again, you might want to count the loops on your hook. And if this is a practice swatch, you want to make sure that you've got 17 loops on your hook. If you do, you're doing it right. Okay, we're at that last stitch. Insert it under both vertical bars, yarn over, pull up a loop. And now return pass. Chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. You might also want to search the waffle stitch, Tunisian waffle stitch. It's on my YouTube channel, and I also have several patterns on my website. I can crochet that uses the Tunisian waffle stitch. I love it. It's kind of the same concept with the front post stitches, but we're introducing reverse stitches as well. Not here, but in between each of the different rows. So yeah, check out that tutorial on my channel. Okay, 2 loops left on our hook. Leave that green kind of laying down off to the side there, pull in that new color, and pull through 2 loops. So this row is a little bit different because it is the brick stitch. We want the post stitches to be offset. We're not lining them up. That's the block stitch. It's another stitch, but we're going to offset the post stitches so that it looks like, you guessed it, bricks. So this row is a little bit different. Okay, skip that first vertical bar, find that second one, and do a simple stitch. So we're just doing 1 simple stitch, and then we're doing a front post stitch here. So as I mentioned, it's a little bit different to find that front and back vertical bar for these rows than it was for the reverse stitch row. So here's the stitch that we're skipping, and we're going to work in the one below that. So you kind of have to pull it a little bit and find that front and back vertical bar. So it sits kind of below. This is like your return pass stitches that are pulling through underneath the front vertical bar. So underneath that reverse stitch row is where you're going to find that front and back vertical bar to work under. So again, you might just kind of have to like pull it a little bit to find where you're supposed to insert your hook. So yarn over, stretch it a little bit, find that front and back vertical bar, insert your hook under both like that. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So then now we're going to do 3 simple stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to do a front post stitch. Yarn over. Do not work that one. Look for the one below that. Look for that front and back vertical bar. Insert your hook under both of those. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2. And as you can see, you're offsetting the post stitches so that it looks like bricks. All right, now we're doing 3 simple stitches. 1, 2, and 3, and a post stitch. Then 3 simple stitches. 1, 2, 3, and a post stitch. And now we have 2 stitches left, this one and the last stitch. So you're doing 1 simple stitch, and then the last Tunisian stitch. And now the return pass. Two loops left on your hook, switch to that new color. And now with the green, just a full row of simple stitches. This pattern is basically a 4-row repeat. We've got the simple stitch row, and then we have the front post stitch row where you do 3 simple and then a front post, and then another row of simple, and then the front post where you have 1 simple stitch and then the front post to where it's offsetted. So you're just going to repeat those 4 rows for the pattern until you get to the reverse stitch row. I'm going to work a few more of these brick stitch rows, and then I want to show you how to end this pattern doing the 4 rows of reverse stitch. So there's a few rows of the brick stitch. Isn't that cool? Really, really pretty pattern. There's so many different things you can do with this. Scarf, hats, blankets, all kinds of different things. So now we are ready to fasten off the green, and we're going to set ourselves up for the reverse stitch rows. So on the last row green, you can go ahead and fasten that off. Leave a tail that you can weave in. And now we're ready to continue working with just the cream. So to set ourselves up for the first reverse stitch row, we need to do one simple stitch row with the cream. And you'll see why, because then the next row will be a reverse stitch, which will make that cream row a reverse stitch row. So we want to do a simple stitch row all the way across with the cream. So the reverse stitch rows are basically whatever yarn color you do the return pass with, that's the little bumps that the reverse stitch row is going to bump out. So if we did a reverse stitch row right now with this cream colored across, then this row with the green would be the bumps that are protruding like that, and so we don't want that. So we're doing a row of simple stitch rows to set us up for the first reverse stitch row. I hope that made sense. Sometimes it makes more sense in my head than I can explain it with words, but I think you get the gist. All right, so that was the simple stitch row, and now we're ready to do a reverse stitch row. So again, either insert your hook in that space and then grab that back bar, or turn it towards you to find that back vertical bar. I like to just kind of keep the work faced towards me like this. Just makes finding that back vertical bar so much easier. And like I said, I kind of push it out with my nail. Just makes it go faster, and for me, a little bit easier. So see, that was the simple stitch row that we did across, and then that was the reverse stitch row, which gave it the little bumpy texture. So now we need to do 2 more reverse stitch rows, and then I'm going to show you how to bind off your pattern with a slip stitch, but working the reverse stitch, so that we'll have 4 rows of reverse stitch, and so that this end will match this end. So let's go ahead and do 2 more rows of reverse stitch, and then meet me back here and we will do the bind off in the reverse stitch. So we now have 3 rows of reverse stitch. Now we're ready to do the bind off. And the bind off is basically doing a slip stitch, but as a reverse stitch. So for a let me show you how to do like a simple stitch bind off first. So for a simple stitch bind off, you would insert your hook as for simple stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull through the loop on your hook. And that's the simple stitch. So again, work a simple stitch as you normally would, bring up a loop, but then pull through the loop on your hook. And that's just binding off the pattern. But since we want this to match this, we want to do a reverse stitch bind off so that it matches this row. So reverse stitch bind off, you're just working the reverse stitch, finding that back vertical bar, pulling up a loop, and then pulling through the loop on your hook. So again, insert your hook in that back vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then pull through the loop on your hook. And that's a bind off. So you should always just have one loop left on your hook all the way through. And see, now that we're doing the bind off that way, we're getting those reverse stitch bumps, and this end matches this end. So you continue that bind off all the way across. And you don't want to do it too tight because it'll start pulling your fabric in. You want to do it a little bit looser than the tension that you did with the rest of the stitches, because slip stitches tend to be tighter. So just loosen your grip a little bit on that hook so that it's a little bit less of a tension. When I first started Tunisian crochet, I did the slip stitch bind off so tight that it would like pull in like this, and it just looked like a hot mess. So I learned how to not pull it quite as tight, but to do it a little bit looser. Okay, we're at that last Tunisian stitch, and you're just going to work it like we have all the other stitches. Pull up a loop, and then pull through the loop on your hook. And then fasten off, weave in all your ends, and you have a really cool brick stitch Tunisian crochet towel. So I hope that you enjoyed this pattern, and I cannot wait to see all the different color combinations you come up with. You can make these for friends and family, for housewarming gifts or birthday presents, and make kitchen towels in all kinds of different colors that match their kitchen decor. And of course, make some for you, for your kitchen. Okay, all right, until next time, bye.